Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Calhoun's. 1 week to go, and then it's tournament time. Whether it's the SEC tournament or the NCAAs, follow the Vols and everybody else you want to follow, and enjoy the best barbecue and ribs in the state. You can do it all at one place. Calhoun's is the place to take in all of the tourney action. Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. All right, welcome back in. 2 weeks ago, after Kentucky walloped UT at Rupp Arena, Tennessee had fallen in defensive efficiency rankings by Ken Pomeroy down to number 53 in the nation. That is not good for your tournament aspirations. You want to be really low down there. We said that at the time. In 2 weeks, they've made a difference. They are now up to, let's take a look at the graphic, they are now up to number 32 in the nation, or down to number 32, however you want to look at it. They have improved 20 slots in 4 games. This is the first time, these last 4 games, you see Vanderbilt shot 32, LSU 38.5, Ole Miss 41.4, Kentucky 31.8%. First time since December, January, right at the new year, including some non-conference games, that Tennessee has held 4 straight opponents to below 42% shooting from the field. Okay, guys, obviously Rick Barnes, that loss at Kentucky, which we discussed at the time, might have been a wake-up call. Rick Barnes talked about we got to get the defense better. They have been better in terms of effort. You've had some glitches here or there. Thoughts on what has changed with this defense? I'll start with you.
Well, I think sometimes when people hear effort, they hear that the team's not playing hard. I think this team is exactly. I think this team has always played hard, but it's the effort in the right effort places. And so putting forth the right effort, this team is now getting back to helping the helper. We've always been a really good defensive team, but now we haven't been helping on penetration. And then, like we'll talk about later, that leads to an open 3. We weren't rotating as good on the next help position. Tennessee's doing that now.
I couldn't get over how many loose balls caused by their hands in passing lanes. Mm-hmm. It seemed like every pass Kentucky tried yesterday, there was a hand in there contesting it. Your thoughts on Tennessee's defensive improvements?
We were more proactive yesterday. When you react and you wait for the ball to get past, then you get there late. But, I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's 1 or 2 passes the guy can make. If they're in the corner, it's probably only 1 pass they can really make. And if you're the guy that's in the denied position, it's supposed to be the next pass away, you got to already be up the line. But be up in a way that you don't get backdoor cut, but you get your hands out there. So that's what I saw, and I guess it was the sense of urgency, and that probably came from the whipping we took in Lexington. But aside from that, the 50-50 balls and stuff, that's kind of defense. So we weren't getting to those until yesterday either. I saw we played a very methodical game, especially on offense. We run our offense, and on defense, it's kind of the same way. I think we were a little too laxed the games before, but they really brought it. It really looked like a rivalry game last night.
This team was a top 5, top 6 defense last year. You've got basically the same team this year, and you were number 53 just a couple of weeks ago. At some point, I wonder if you weren't exerting, not saying you didn't have any effort, but you're putting more effort on your offensive end than you were into your defensive end. Sometimes you're focusing more on getting the pretty alley-oop than playing deep.
That's the thing, too. When you share the ball on offense, you tend to play better, help defense. If the ball's moving all around on offense, everybody's getting their shot, then on defense, everybody's going to help everybody more. It's just the mind of an athlete.
Yeah, that's why describing them as active on both ends, it really does apply. And the players knew they needed to be better on the defensive end, and they still probably do. But they said we're going to improve. We're going to be back to where we were last year, and they've gotten close to that. That's the biggest reason they win by the amount they did against Kentucky. If that continues, then Tennessee's going to have a chance to make a deep run, and it's going to have to continue for them to be able to.
The defense has been so on point lately they can even take a charge on a 30-foot run down the floor and get a shot off the buzzer.
Yeah, are you guys buying in? Has a switch been flipped, or you still want to see a little bit more?
They don't have any margin for error. If they're not the aggressor, these last 2 games this week are tough.
Yeah,
if we don't remain the aggressor, then we can struggle.
And this ties into what we're going to talk about a little later. Here's some interesting numbers we've got here. I did some research this week. Been talk all year about this team isn't a great 3-point defensive team. That's a little more perception than it is reality. Here's why. SEC foes who shot 5%, that's all, just 5% better than their season average, I listed here. Only 4 times in 16 games as a team shot better than their season average against Tennessee, and 3 times they've shot 5% or worse, 5% or more worse. However, what stands out is 10 times Tennessee has allowed a team to put up more three balls than they do against their season average. Meaning, you take it back to what we told you last week with an SEC coach anonymously telling Seth Davis, they work hard to prevent guards from penetrating, and it gives you a lot of looks to kick it back outside for open threes. That's what you're seeing. Their three-point defense isn't that bad. They just have teams that are firing up a lot of threes, and when they hit 9, you're thinking, well, they're 9 of 10 out there. No, they're 9 of 30, but they're firing up 30. Another number, which kind of goes with defense a little bit, a lot of talk about officiating and fouls. So I went back and looked at the entire season. It's pretty remarkable. Free throws attempted for the entire season. Tennessee, 596, opponents, 578, plus 18. That's it for the whole year. It's that even. Personal fouls called against you. On the season, you're plus 42. There have been 42 more called on the opponents. Personal fouls in SEC games, 281 called against you, 281 called against the opponents. At home, you got 13 more calls your way. On the road, 13 fewer calls your way. And an interesting note, Grant Williams, according to Ken Pomeroy, ranks number 11 in the nation in terms of fouls drawn per 40 minutes. He draws an average of 7.1 fouls per game. That's 11th in the country. Chris Silva at South Carolina averages 7.3. He's the only guy in the SEC who draws more. Interesting information for you. When we come back, spring practice gets underway. Trust me, we've got a lot more basketball. We bring in a new member of the panel, and we talk a little football next. Come on back.